morning, I'm Paolo del Rosario. Welcome to Weather HQ. Today's headlines. PAGASA says Marce has decelerated over the Philippine Sea east of Northern Luzon. We'll give you the latest on typhoon warning signals raised as of 8 this morning. In India, the toxic smog season in its capital New Delhi has begun as cooler temperatures and slow-moving winds trap deadly pollutants. More on our global weather. And back here at home, a group of bird enthusiasts promote bird watching as a way to enjoy nature. I'll speak with the Wild Bird Club of the Philippines later on in the show. Typhoon Marce maintains its strength as it approaches the Philippine landmass. The eye of the typhoon was last located 335 kilometers east of Tuguegarao City, Cagayan. Now, Marce maintains its strength and has maximum sustained winds of 140 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 170 kilometers per hour. It is now moving slowly westward. Now, based on PAGASA's latest track, it will maintain its strength as it exits the PAR by Friday evening. Now, if the movement of the typhoon will not change, it may make landfall or pass close to the Babuyan Islands or the northern portion of mainland Cagayan from tomorrow afternoon until Friday morning. Now, PAGASA says the peak intensity of Marce is expected today before its landfall tomorrow. PAGASA already raised signal number 2 in the eastern portions of Babuyan Islands, northeastern portion of mainland Cagayan. Residents and local government units in that area should prepare to mitigate the impact of gusty winds of up to 88 kilometers per hour. These strong winds are expected for at least 24 hours. Now, these winds could damage nipa and kogon houses, while wooden or old electric posts may be toppled down. In general, winds may bring light to moderate damage to the exposed communities. Signal number 1 is up in Batanes, the rest of Babuyan Islands, the rest of mainland Cagayan, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, Apayao, Abra, Kalinga, Mountain Province, Ifugao, northern portion of Benguet, Isabela, Nueva Vizcaya, Quirino, the northern portion of Aurora. Now, these areas will experience winds of up to 61 kph, and intermittent rains are also expected within 36 hours. Residents and LGUs are advised as early as now to please prepare for the possible impact of the storm. And remember that when the tropical cyclone intensifies and is moving closer, a higher signal may be raised. Signal number 4 is the highest wind signal that may be hoisted during Typhoon Marce. As for the wind forecast, residents of the whole Ilocos region, Quezon, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, and Catanduanes will experience gusty winds from time to time. Now, by tomorrow, residents in Ilocos Sur, La Union, Pangasinan, Aurora, Zambales, Quezon, and Catanduanes are expected to experience strong gusts, especially in coastal and upland areas. Now, on Friday, strong winds will be felt in Isabela and will continue over the Ilocos region, Aurora, and Zambales. Now, due to Typhoon Marce, stormy weather is now expected in Batanes and Cagayan, including the Babuyan Islands. Please prepare for possible flooding or landslides due to intense to at times torrential rains. Now, as we mentioned, intense to at times torrential rains with gusty winds are expected over the Cordillera Administrative Region, the Ilocos Aurora, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, and the rest of the Cagayan Valley. Now, the winds may actually cause a minor to moderate threat to lives and properties. The trough or the extension of Typhoon Marce will bring cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms over the Bicol region in Quezon. Over in Metro Manila and the rest of the country, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with chances of thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon, are expected. Now, for tomorrow, intense to torrential rains are expected over Cagayan and Apayao. Heavy to intense rains are expected in Ilocos Norte and Batanes. Moderate to heavy rains are expected in Isabela, Abra, Ilocos Sur, Kalinga, and Mountain Province. Let's take a look at the sea conditions as a gale warning is up on the seaboard of northern and eastern seaboards of Northern Luzon, particularly in Batanes, Isabela, and Cagayan, including the Babuyan Islands. Now, the coastal waters of these areas will experience rough to high sea conditions and may have maximum wave heights of up to 7.5 meters. Actually, I'll move on to the side. There it is. 5.5 to 7.5 meters is the expected wave height, and possible in the northern and western seaboards of Northern Luzon and the eastern seaboard of Central Luzon and Aurora. Now, with these kinds of sea conditions, sea travel is risky for vessels of any type or tonnage. All mariners must remain in port. Also, a storm surge warning is raised in Batanes, Cagayan, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, and Isabela. Now, all marine activities must be canceled and please stay away from the coastal areas here indicated by this. Now, river flooding is possible due to the storm surge, so do watch out for that. To know more about the updates on Typhoon Marce, we have with us on the phone PAGASA weather specialist Cignal Dominguez. Cignal, good morning.
Good morning, Paolo. Good morning po sa mga taga-subaybay po ng Bilyonaryo.
Cignal, naka-raise ng signal number 2 sa Cagayan. Have we have any information with regards to the residents there and the weather conditions they are experiencing at the moment?
Yes po, dito po sa Cagayan, nasahan po natin, mahalakas na rin po ang hangin na kanilang mararanasan. And then kung ano rin po natin, meron din tayong weather advisory na nilabas po para dito po sa mga kababayan po natin sa Cagayan. Asahan na rin po natin sa ngayong araw ang 50 to 100 po na millimeter of rain. And then habang papalapit din po itong si Marce, ay asahan po natin lalo pong tumataas ang chances na matataas na chance ng mga pag-ulan po.
Apart from Cagayan, are we expecting more areas to be placed under signal number 2 habang palapit na ang Marce?
Sa nakikita po natin, yes po, lalo na po dito habang sa nakikita po kasi natin sa forecast track po natin, tatawid po ito dito sa may Babuyan Islands. So kapag ito po ay nangyari po, asahan na po natin, magkakaroon din po ng tropical cycle wind signal po dito po sa mga kababayan natin sa Ilocos Sur at some parts po ng Cordillera Administrative Region.
Medyo bumagal, Cignal, ang Marce in terms of yung movement po niya. What are the reasons why kung bakit siya bumagal?
Yes po, maalala po kasi natin, meron din tayo nakikitang high pressure system na possible na nakaka-apekto din po dito sa movement po ni Marce. And habang papalapit din po ito sa landmass, nagkakaroon din po ito ng friction na tinatawag po natin, kaya nagkakaroon din po ng pagbagal din po.
Well, na-mention mo na, Cignal, about yung rainfall in the areas that will be affected. But at the moment po, apart from Marce, are we expecting any other tropical storms next week? Or are there any scenarios na kailangan natin talagang i-focus?
Yes po, sa makikita po natin sa satellite imagery po natin, may mga cloud clusters din po tayo sa labas po ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility. At patuloy po natin ito babantayan kung magiging isang ganap na low pressure area or magiging isang ganap na bagyo po.
Maraming salamat. That was PAGASA weather specialist Cignal Dominguez from PAGASA. After the break, we'll talk to the Wild Bird Club of the Philippines that promotes bird watching. Please stay tuned. You're watching Weather HQ. Welcome back. You're still watching Weather HQ. I'm Paolo del Rosario. A group of bird enthusiasts is promoting bird watching as a responsible way to enjoy nature. Joining us via Zoom is Wild Bird Club of the Philippines Secretary, Maya Tañedo. Good morning, Maya.
Good morning, Paolo.
Maya, first of all, let's talk about the overview of the number of species of birds we can actually watch and witness here in the country. And of course, gaano sila ka-importante sa ecosystem po natin. When you talk about the biodiversity, especially with birds here in the Philippines, just how diverse is it?
Okay. It's actually quite surprising that people don't know so much about birds, given that the Philippines has around 743 different kinds of bird species that can be seen in the country. So, with that big a number, out of that number, no, we have 260 that are endemics. That means the 260 of these bird species can only be found in the country and nowhere else in the world.
We understand that you also conduct guided tours to help educate some of our younger kababayans, and of course, trying to educate people in general. Can you tell us a bit more about those activities to increase yung appreciation natin for them?
Okay, so just to clarify, it's not just for the younger generation. So anybody can actually do bird watching. Our club, the Wild Bird Club of the Philippines, actually conducts guided bird watching trips for the general public. So we try to do this at least once a month. Also, other groups can also request. So we've had different schools, companies, and even homeschooling groups. No, we're quite popular with the homeschooling community because it actually gives a hands-on experience to the lessons that the children learn about in school. But aside from the students, anybody can actually get in touch with the club and join a guided bird watching trip, which we conduct in places just around the metro. Any green space actually can be a potential bird watching site.
That's really interesting that any green space, are there any places that I guess some people would be surprised there's actually a big amount of biodiversity, or a place where you can actually witness Philippine birds with a higher appreciation that people may have ignored?
Oh, well, you can start with your backyards. So if you're lucky enough to have a green patch of space where you live, no, even if it's in a garden. I live in Quezon City. We live in a townhouse. Our plants are all potted, but we actually have a lot of endemic birds in our backyards. So you can start in your own homes, in your own villages. But some cities are more lucky than others that have green spaces. So like Quezon City has La Mesa Eco Park. We have the UP Diliman campus. We've also gone out bird watching in Valenzuela, the Tagalog Fishing Village. So any place that actually has sort of maintained a natural kind of habitat will house birds, wild birds. No, bird watching does not count caged birds or
Yeah.
pet birds. Yeah, so bird watching is actually going out to the habitat, to the natural habitat of the birds, and that's where you watch them.
So that's actually a distinction I wanted to make. When you say wild birds, yan po yung mga out in nature. Tama po ba?
Yes, that's correct. So when I started bird watching, I thought the only place that you can find birds, where you can see birds, are in the zoo. So I used to frequent zoos until I started bird watching. And I discovered they're just actually everywhere. It just takes a matter of being aware, and being mindful, not only to what you see, but also to what you hear. So once actually that awareness is awakened, then there's no stopping you from noticing all the wild birds around you.
And of course, it's a responsible way to enjoy nature. You mentioned you moved on from yung zoos to actually seeing them
Yes.
out in nature. Just has your experience bird watching heightened your sensibilities with regards to the preservation of the bird species here?
Yes, actually, that's very true. It starts with an interest in the birds, but you can't quite help yourself noticing their habitat and what's happening to their habitats, what's happening to the birds, like what's being shown, hunting, poaching. So the first step is being interested. And just like, I guess, anything in life, you cannot really protect something that you don't love or care about. So once you start loving and caring about the birds, then it widens the entire experience, that you start caring for the bigger environment, for the bigger habitat, for the bigger ecosystem, so that you start being more passionate about other things like habitat destruction, about reclamation, about hunting and poaching. And then suddenly you're advocating for these kinds of things as well.
And of course, based on your background, I think that there's something to promote there. Because if I'm not mistaken, there's an Asian bird fair happening from November 21 to 22 in the tent in Las Piñas. You can take,
Yes.
ayun, no, there, you move to the side. Maraming salamat. But then,
Yes, there you go.
for
I'm prepared.
those who are interested in going, and for those who will go, what can our viewers expect? And of course, how could they become a part of it?
Okay, so the 13th Asian Bird Fair is coming back to the Philippines. The very first one in 2010 was held in Davao. So it's back in the Philippines, this time in Las Piñas City at the 10th. That's on November 21 to 22. So admission is free. It's completely free. We've invited other organizations from across the world, not only from Asia, but also from the South Americas and India and Europe. So they'll all be coming to the tent, get a chance to interact with them, to meet them, to learn, and to network. Actually, basically, that's what we're doing. And we're all zeroed in about promoting bird watching as a sustainable ecotourism practice. So students are also welcome. We have lots of lectures, fun activities. College students, we have forums, and then for anybody who's just interested to learn more about birds and about nature and about connecting with like-minded individuals. So the Asian Bird Fair is there. Oh, we also have tour companies that are promoting tours in their different countries. So we have guests from Colombia, from Uganda. So it's a good chance to open your mind, to be exposed to the wonderful world of bird watching.
All right, Maya, before we let you go, are there any social media pages people could follow to get in touch with the Wild Bird Club of the Philippines?
Yes, and we have a website, birdwatch.ph. We're also on Facebook, Wild Bird Club of the Philippines, and on Instagram as well. We also have a Birdwatch Philippines community where people usually post asking for help about what to do when they find an injured bird, or if they spot a bird that they don't quite know yet. So they ask for advice on what identification that is. So it's a healthy community. We also have activities that we try to do as regularly as possible to get more people engaged and to meet with other bird watchers and get started on their journey.
Well, I cannot wait to see more people join you in terms of watching those birds and, of course, helping preserve the species here in the country. Maraming salamat, Wild Bird Club of the Philippine Secretary Maya Tañedo. Fly high. Global
you.
weather is up next. Keep it here. You're still watching BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Welcome back. This is Weather HQ. Let's take a look at the global weather. In India, the toxic smog season in New Delhi has just begun. New Delhi regularly ranks amongst the world's most polluted capitals, with a melange of factory and vehicle emissions exacerbated by agricultural fires blanketing the city each winter, stretching from mid-October until at least January. Cooler temperatures and slow-moving winds trap deadly pollutants, suffocating the megacity of 30 million people in putrid fumes. Now, according to the monitoring firm IQ Air, the level of PM 2.5 particles, the smallest and most harmful, which can enter the bloodstream, topped 278 micrograms per cubic meter. That is 18 times the daily maximum recommended by the World Health Organization, and it can trigger strokes, heart disease, lung cancer, and other respiratory diseases. Let's take a look at the weather in New Delhi. Foggy weather in New Delhi will continue until today, and the next 3 days we'll see similar things. The lowest temperature could go down to around 17 degrees Celsius, so for our kababayans in the area, please avoid the harmful air pollutants coming into your lungs there as well. Try to stay indoors, shut doors and windows, and wear anti-pollution masks while you are outside. Still continuing the theme on pollution, in Pakistan, air pollution in its second biggest city, Lahore, soared over the weekend. The thick smog has been affecting the city of 14 million people for days. It is a mixture of fog and pollutants caused by low-grade diesel fumes, smoke from seasonal agricultural burning, and winter cooling. Officials from the Environment Protection Department in Pakistan's Punjab province are monitoring severe pollution levels choking Lahore. Government authorities said that primary schools have been shut down for a week to avoid exposing millions of children to smog several times above levels deemed dangerous. Breathing the toxic air has catastrophic health consequences, with the World Health Organization saying strokes, heart disease, lung cancer, and respiratory diseases can be triggered by prolonged exposure. Again, taking a look at the weather forecast today and for next 3 days at Lahore. Dry weather will continue to prevail, which means that the wind patterns will remain the same, and these pollutants that can concentrate in the area will be there as well. Temperatures could reach up to 32 degrees Celsius, so please be cautious because hot weather can increase particulate pollution. And that'll do it for us here today on Weather HQ. Join me again tomorrow, whatever the weather, here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Have a great morning.